Howdy mates, how are we doing today? It is Wednesday, September 7th, September 7th, 2022. I had to make sure I had my days right. I'm over visiting a new site today that I've never been. This is known as the Lake Manatee State Park, which is up by Bradenton, Florida. Personally, I just wanted to go somewhere different, just because lately with work and whatnot, I've been going down to South Florida, like Naples and Fort Myers. So I figured on my day off from work, I instead wanted to go north this time, just because, going to some of the same destinations gets a little monotonous after a while, at least in my opinion. So, though this isn't really a true lake, it is indeed a river, as a matter of fact. Specifically, what runs up here is the Manatee River, which spans through Sarasota and Manatee County. But personally, we are closer to the city of Bradenton. Now, the thing is, the reason why this water body appears as large as it does is because, there's a belted kingfisher. The only reason that it's as large as it seems is because this body of water is held by a dam. So essentially, this is one big reservoir. Now, hate to be the bearer of bad news, since there is a dam not too far away from here. It's actually to the west. You can actually partially see it out in the distance. You won't see any manatees here, just because the dam interrupts that particular flow. So, once you are past the particular dam, then you will see them. Now, I've been asked this question multiple times during my narrations before on the Peace River. Question I've been asked is, do you really see manatees this far inland this time of the year? Very seldomly. And there's a particular reason for that. They only have a particular tolerance when it comes to temperature. You see, their body, they can't inhabit water that is below 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Like, that is essentially their threshold. So essentially, if they are in any water that is below 68 degrees Fahrenheit, they will experience our equivalent of hypothermia. So basically, once they're in much colder water, their body systems start to shut down. And honestly, if they don't get out quick enough, they can die. No different than if we experience hypothermia for an extended time. So that being said, this time of the year, you will commonly see them closer to the Gulf or in the bays that line up with the Gulf. Just because this time of the year, the water over there is much warmer, whereas more inland, it's not as warm. Now, it sounds a little strange, but honestly too, a lot of the water that is more inland usually stays at a closer constant temperature more than anything. But it's still too chilly for them. However, once it reaches into the winter months, it's the other way around. The waters in the Gulf get a lot colder, And so they start to migrate further inland. Oh, wow. It's because, you know, once it reaches that time of the year, the water inland seems warmer, which it is in a sense. So, and another common question I've been asked too is really, why do they weigh up to 1,000 pounds? Well, it's not necessarily because of fat. They hardly have any fat in their body whatsoever. They might only have 10 to 20%. Rather, more of that density of their body comes from bone mass. If you actually view a skeleton of a manatee, it's absolutely huge. And just the ribs alone probably weigh up to a couple of 100 pounds. So that answers your question for those of you who have been curious about that. And needless to say, Lake Manatee is a major water source for the residents of those who live in Manatee in Sarasota County. So the amount of swimming that occurs in here is very limited, and there's usually a bigger or a higher regulation for the types of boats that go in here too. Usually they recommend you to only operate a 20 horsepower boat, and that's it. Just because the state park wants to try reducing how much emissions make their way into this water, since it's a major source. Now, you may have heard that distinctive chirp that I was pointing out, the belted kingfisher. You know, they're finally starting to make their way down here because, as a matter of fact, they're actually a migratory bird. They don't stay down here year round. Because, frankly, you know, with my home state being in Ohio, usually this time of the year is when you see them up there. But they're a very strategic hunter. I mean, who knows? We may still have a chance to see it happen. But what's so cool is they have a very keen sense of sight. So they can fly. They can fly as high as 20 feet above water. And they can literally see what they're hunting for, whether it be fish or crustaceans. And essentially they hover above. So think of my hand as the kingfisher. They hover, and once they find their prey, they'll just dive and then pick up their food. So they're quite amazing in terms of how they hunt. So all right, you guys. Figure since I'm over 8 minutes, this is a good point to wrap up the video. That way I don't have to digress a bit further. So I hope you learned something of value today, and thanks for watching. All right. Journey on a Journey is outwards. Take care, folks.